Hello, I'm TheZOMBIEJ, and we're going to talk about Bionicle again, in a positive way, because the multimedia for Bionicle is of great importance to us Bionicle fans. Yes, even the elitists find it important, because Bionicle was unlike any other LEGO theme that came before or after it. It's one of a kind, and that's partially why LEGO won't bring it back again. Because it's a one of a kind. It's one of those themes that'll last for, you know, the 10 years that it existed. And it's generations that have come before and after it can enjoy it, even if LEGO is not doing anything with the IP itself. Unfortunately, they're doing everything they can to bury it. And that's stupid. When it comes to the multimedia, I have an example, a physical CD example, the Power Pack CD, which is pretty cool. You will enjoy this. When it comes to the Power Pack, I only got the CD. I don't have Hafu, I don't have the Chrome How, I don't even have the box. I just have the CD, and that's fine. This cost $30 on eBay. Now, given that was 2017. So another thing that came with multimedia were promo discs, which had interactive stuff. You can watch trailers, videos, clips, interact with certain parts of the UI of these discs. And these CDs went all the way through until like 2007, I think, was when the Baraki CD was released, and that was it. There were also video games, console games, web games, mobile games, and then there were books. I've got the books back there. There were books, there were board games as well, there were graphic novels, only 9. There was the cover art released for, well, not really officially released, but it was a leaked image for the 10th graphic novel. And I think I made a rant video on that, because that would have been cool to get volume number 10. But because of lacking of sales of volume 9 and 8, they didn't go through with it. They only gave us the cover art, and that's sad. Fuckers. And of course, there was the canisters of the sets. The canisters were not necessarily part of the multimedia, but hey, they were still cool. The movies. The movies were pretty damn awesome for what they were. Even the Miramax trilogy were a trilogy of excellent CGI Bionicle films. Albeit comedic sometimes, other times they're serious. Now, The Legend Reborn, many people say, is the worst of the Bionicle quadrilogy that existed. I like The Legend Reborn. I think y'all are just being stupid. I mean, come on. Let's face it. The Legend Reborn, in retrospect, is a good film. It's just, it's not what we were kind of hoping for. We were hoping for the sequel and the second sequel to come out in 2010, 2011. Well, Bionicle was canceled, and we didn't get those films. So all we got was The Legend Reborn. And for the toy accurate CG, it's pretty good. Threshold Studio was behind that because they also did an Antros test, which was pretty cool. You can find that from multiple sources on YouTube. Threshold, magnificent studio. They did a fantastic toy accurate models for these, obviously with some modifications, and also the ability to pose the fingers. And other quirks like movement of the mouth and the masks and whatnot. Yeah, so cool. There were the commercials, there were the advertisements, there were the videos of each individual Toa or each individual Rakshi, or there was also videos for the demo reels, or not demo reels, but you know what I mean, demo versions of the Bionicle the game from 2003. There was 5 GBA games, obviously. There was pencils, shoes, book bags, notebooks, composition books. I had a Bionicle pen. There was even a clock, a full-on square-ass clock that you can add stuff to, even a mask. I had a watch. I had a Bionicle watch. I still have parts from it, but I don't have the watch. It doesn't work anymore, so why bother? There were other watches. There were cameras. There were trading cards. You get what I'm saying. The multimedia for Bionicle. There were comic books. Comics a lot of people grew up with. Especially going back as far as the 60s and 70s, I'd say. Yeah, comic books are still a good thing from time to time. It's just in recent memory, some comics are a little bit cheesy. But hey, the Bionicle comics for G1 were fantastic. I never got all of them. I only started at the end of 2004 and got that last comic, Nightmares. And then worked my way up until 2009 with the final comic, which featured the Bionicle stars on it. However, I did not end up with all of the 2007 comics. I had to reapply for Lego Club Magazine. That's another thing. Lego Club Magazine, you got some Bionicle advertised stuff in there. You had puzzles. You had all kinds of stuff. Toothbrushes as well, so you can brush your teeth. What more do I need to say? The multimedia for Bionicle, and along with it came the evolution of construction. It was a marvel to behold. You also had short CG animations done by Ghost. And not the band. Fuck that band. I mean, come on. Tobias Forge. Fuck you. I apologize to Ghost fans, but come on. There was quite a lot of great stuff when it came to Bionicle multimedia. Even t-shirts, and hoodies, and hats. Yeah. Clothing and apparel in general. So much stuff. Magnets. You had the Hordika. The Hordika right there. You had the Toa Hordika weapons as magnets. I mean, seriously, that's pretty cool. You had the Morbozak sponge that you could use to you know, soap up and scrub your junk with. But it's got tentacles, so tentacle hentai. That was a weird quirk. You had foam weapons as well. I have a foam weapon up there. It's the Hordika Flame Sword from Fakama. I would bring it down for this video, but I'm not going to do that. I showed it before in my swords video, so there you go. Also, you had posters. I have a ton of posters here and there. A lot of great stuff came out of the Bionicle G1 multimedia. Web animations. You know, you had the Templar animations. You also had the Vaki animations were the last thing that Templar did for Bionicle, which was a shame. I would have liked to see how they tackled the late 2004 and 2005 things. However, we already had a 2005 Hordika and the Toa Hordika and the Mask of Light story arc. That was done by a different studio, but I like the art style. I think it's pretty cool. And the Paraka animations, yeah. I love the sound engineering for those animations. It's like, they still hold up nowadays, and it's fantastic. In Lunchables, yeah, remember when Lunchables were still a thing? They still are, but they're not as popular as you think they were. There were 3 Bionicle Metru Nui comics for the Lunchables, and I had all 3 of them at one point. I can't tell you where they are. In fact, they probably got destroyed. I don't know why, I don't know how. Yeah, so. The Lunchables comics were pretty cool. They were kind of an extension of the Bionicle DC comics. They were published by DC, that's why they had DC on the page, front page. Wow. So much stuff that LEGO gave us for G1. There was internal concept videos and a lot of concept art as well. There was a lot of story things that we didn't find out until sometime after G1's cancellation. And even now, we still find out things about G1 that we didn't know. But then LEGO had to get involved with Duck Bricks and Christian Faber essentially spoiling us fans with more info that we didn't know. And LEGO had to get involved and say, no, put that away, or yeah. LEGO, you have one foot in the grave at this point, LEGO. Fuck right off. But the multimedia for Bionicle was a marvelous, marvelous thing. It was something that kept us engaged with the legend. The legend that was, and the legend that still be. However, that legend was laid to rest in early 2010. With the, there was also the story serials and podcasts. Yeah, Greg Farsty kept working on the Powers That Be, and also Yesterday Quest, I think. He kept working on the story until he left it abrupt, because he had to deal with, you know, family stuff. He never finished it! He never finished those fucking serials! Why? Because he had a baby. That's it. Yeah, Family Matters. That's all it is. Not the stupid show. I don't like Family Matters. It's a fucking horrible show. Fuck off. Anyway. Yeah. So, the multimedia for Bionicle, it was unique in its own right. It was different. It was unlike any multimedia that you would ever see out of Lego themes or out of anything like Transformers. It's absolutely insane, and we worship this. We worship this, yet we accept that the fact that there are flaws with the multimedia in Bionicle. However, we can overlook those flaws easily because of the nostalgia factor. That's all it really is anymore. The nostalgia is what really gets me every time when I look at a Bionicle commercial from 2005 or 2001, like the original launch commercial for the Toamata. And there was just, it was just so thrilling. It was exciting. All of this stuff came out, and I never got all of it. I mean, I got some stuff. I got this flame sword in 2015, or 2014 actually, early 2014, maybe it was late 2013, I don't remember. Point is, got it off of eBay, or was it Bricklink? I don't remember. I got Tahumata up there, off of Bricklink. Came with the canister, came with a poster up there. Actually, wait a minute, didn't come with a poster, it came with an instruction manual. And yeah, it was marvelous. He also had little extra things such as this. Ugh. Yeah, this little Toa Nuva against the Borak Hall thing, and a couple of different Borak sort of like extension comic book things. These are cool. These are cool. The multimedia is something that was really captivating for Bionicle G1 fans alike. And LEGO just had to throw that all out the window, under the bus, in the toilet, and flush it down the drain. When it came to the GWP. I like the GWP. I think it's a good set. But their reasoning behind it is to boost their sales for the end of January of 2023. Lego. No, you don't do that. That's just being greedy. That really is. Fuck you, Lego, at that point. At any rate, we still had a good set, even though some people cry foul at the inaccuracies. At least you had the chest ball. Yeah, the voodoo ball for the, chest. So, at least that had something in common with Tahu Mata up there. But yeah, the multimedia was a fantastic, wondrous, lovely thing that we got from Bionicle G1, that we got from Lego. They worked hard on G1. G1 was basically an experiment, and it was an experiment that paid off amazingly well. And for this we are grateful. But Lego aren't grateful anymore nowadays! Isn't that just lovely? Well, fuck you too, Lego. But at least we have the memories. The memories of playing Minogue, the memories of building the toys themselves, the memories of watching the movies, playing all the games, watching all the animations, the commercials, participating in contests, and reading the books, and yeah. All of this was something that you would never see again. The way it was handled for G1. You would never see it again for G2. Let's talk about G2. G2, the story was dumbed down and stupid. They basically thought kids were stupid enough that they could get away with a stupid sounding story. Well, thank you, Lego. That's real nice of you, you fuckers. G2 had three storybooks, 2 graphic novels with a third eventually being canceled, an activity book that sucks, and there was also a magazine insert from 2015 that was okay, I guess. And the stupid part about the activity book is not that it's worse than the activity book we got from G1, which I still have. It's the fact that they gave us a mask we already had. Yep, the Protector mask in gold, which transitions to a trans bluish color. We already had that from Mask Maker versus Skull Grinder, Akimu versus Kolta. Why? Why do you insist on giving us that mask twice? You could have given us the Gali Master mask in trans dark blue. If you had extras of those lying around, you could have given us that instead of a mask we already fucking had. Seriously, think it through, Lego. The web animations were also shit. And the trailers for all the Toa and everything for 2015, 2016, not that great. The voice acting for G2's Netflix series, The Journey to One, it was bad. The voice acting was corny and bad. And also the fact that it sounded like they were talking from behind their masks. Okay, I guess that makes sense, but it's still not that great. The Journey to One wasn't that great to begin with. It was... The first couple of episodes were acceptable. The third, not so much. The fourth, wow. What a shit show, especially the last 6 or so minutes. Oh, I sense damage control. Yeah, LEGO were effectively ending G1 by sending the Toa back to where they came from. And then they canceled G2, pretended that it didn't happen. Yeah, LEGO essentially they were trying to commit career suicide with Bionicle G2, but at least we have the memories. At least we have, you know, nostalgia that really gave us something to, you know, be excited about. I remember watching TTV's first video covering the first ever leak for G2. After the night prior, I had a dream of seeing Bionicle sets, revamps, on store shelves at a Walmart. That was an amazing dream, and it was awesome. I still have dreams like that to this day. And to wake up to find that we were actually getting Bionicle G2, that was just the greatest feeling of all time. Bionicle is coming back. Cryo shall release a instrumental of Gravity Hurts, full-length instrumental of Gravity Hurts in 2015. And they were going to be working on new music from that point on. And they still haven't delivered on a new album. What? The point is, the nostalgia of G1 carried over to G2, but for G2, it wasn't as memorable as G1. The two app games were not that great. As phone apps, as iPad apps, as Android apps, they're average at best. LEGO really shot themselves in the foot with G2, and it really angers me to no end, because G2 could have been excellent. It could have been amazing. I could have hailed it to the highest of heavens or the lowest of hells. But it just ended up being not that great. The sets, at least, were great. For the most part. For the most part. LEGO dropped the ball with G2. The multimedia wasn't as good. All the concept art flushed down the drain. The final thing they released was the art of LEGO Bionicle. That's another thing that pisses me off. You only had 100 copies of that book, and you didn't think to mass produce it for us fans who are willing to collect the thing, pay 20 bucks out of the asshole for that? LEGO! You fucked up again! Also, calling Bionicle G2 LEGO Bionicle instead of just Bionicle. I mean, I get it. It's a LEGO IP. It's like LEGO Ninjago, or LEGO Nexo Knights, or LEGO Legends of Chima. I get it! But you didn't have to put your stupid logo right there before the Bionicle logo, the G2 version of the logo. You didn't have to do that. You could have just gotten away with calling it Bionicle, and it still probably wouldn't have made you enough money. Yeah. With the multimedia, we got posters. I have the Golly Master poster right here. I have the 2015 Hero Pack Island of Koto poster, which is worn down, and it's got some stains on it from whatever. And yeah, I even have an extra Mask of Creation and an extra Mask of Control over there. That's kind of screwed up. Guys, I like the Mask of Creation. I kind of like the Mask of Control too, but they're both regal. They're both very nice designs. Plus, with the G2 Mask of Control Creation, it inspired people to make their own G1 Mask of Control or Creation. Sorry, we had a Mask of Mind Control, and that was Taraga Anawa's mask. But we got a G1 canonized Mask of Creation. That was worn by Artaka. Because of G2, we've got all these canonization contests. We've got all this other shit. And fan games were being made until they were canceled this year. So while G2's multimedia wasn't as good, it still proved that Bionicle had a bit of a viability to it. Maybe it doesn't have a viability to it to LEGO themselves anymore, because they don't give a shit anymore. They're pretending that Bionicle G2 didn't happen. but the ghost still haunts them. To this day, that I feel like they're scared of bringing Bionicle back a third time. They're afraid to bring it back for fear of losing more money than they're pouring into it. You corporate cunts. It's the money. That's all they care about is the money. And yes, they do have one foot in the grave at this point. That was my foot that just popped. Yes, I have joints. Because I'm a human. I've got bones. Yeah. Anyway. So, G2's multimedia may not have been as exciting as G1's. Personally, I feel like G2's multimedia was a failure, a massive fucking failure. It's worse than Hero Factory's multimedia, and that's saying something. It's saying a lot about it, because Hero Factory's multimedia was not as great either. At least it was better than G2's multimedia. At least they poured a lot into it. There were comics. There were a show. Bionicle G2 didn't have a show, but it had 4 movies. I mean, Bionicle G1 had 4 movies. Sorry. Bionicle G2 had a Netflix series. That's where I'll stop. So. And also, when it came to the Mask of Ultimate Power, there was a 3D print in champagne gold that looked pretty cool that LEGO used for the Makuta contest. And the Shadow Titan Makuta that was used for the Journey to 1, I still want to build that, but I don't have the sets to build it. I mean, I do, technically, but I'll need clones of those sets in order to build it. And that inspired fans to recreate that mask, that version of the Mask of Ultimate Power, which I feel is going to have to be the definitive version of the Mask of Ultimate Power. You can have it in either gold or black. Either way, it's perfect. Shapeways and Thingiverse. Great places to get that mask. So, what can we learn from Bionicle G1 and Bionicle G2 in terms of multimedia? Bionicle G1's multimedia was legendary beyond belief. It was fantastic, it was amazing, and we all loved it. I can't think of anyone who would have disliked or hated Bionicle G1's multimedia except LEGO themselves. Seriously. I mean, let's face it, LEGO, they loathe Bionicle at this point. They don't want it to be celebrated because they're corporate cons. Let's just be honest. To where with Bionicle G2, the multimedia was garbage. Ryder Windham, you're better at writing Indiana Jones and Star Wars books than you are with Bionicle. I mean, at least we got Protector names. At least we got Bingzak as well. What? The point is, G1 better than G2 any day, every day, in terms of the multimedia. In terms of the sets, yes, G1 sets are better than G2 sets, although the G2 sets are pretty good as construction builds. Some better than others, some worse than others. There's 3 sets I can think of that are the worst of that G2 has to offer, and that's Lord of Skull Spiders, Ketar, and Skull Scorpio. That's the worst it ever got. But hey. The multimedia for Bionicle G1 is something that we will always remember, even if Bionicle G2's multimedia was something that was completely unmemorable. Except for people who actually grew up with G2 for the 2 years that it lasted. Oh my god, 2 years? They only planned it for 2 years, let's be honest. They didn't want to give it a third year. They only planned it for 2. Let's be honest. I mean, seriously, if they planned it for a third year, we would have gotten some evidence regarding a 2017 Bionicle. But we didn't. They only planned it for 2 fucking years. 2015 and 2016. That's all we got. That's all we were ever going to get. You wanna know why? Because part of it, in fact, has to do with the budget being slashed in half. And those funds were taken and poured over into the Star Wars CCBS sets for the next few years. Until the 2018 final wave. Wow. And this, I believe, is true. This, I believe, is 100% true. And if Lego denies it, Lego, you're wrong. Fuck you. So there you go. G2's multimedia sucks compared to Bionicle G1's multimedia. Wanna know how I feel about Hero Factory's multimedia? Well, I kind of already told you. It's not that great either, but it's okay. At least the show wasn't that great either, but at least it kind of made me laugh to some extent. The last actual episode was Brain Attack. Invasion from Below. That doesn't count as an episode. There wasn't an actual episode. It was just the story clips from the game smushed together into one 20-something long animation. It doesn't count. You can find that on YouTube. Go watch it, and you'll probably understand why I hate it. The voice acting. The voices for Furno, and etc. What? Yeah, anyway. So what do you think about the multimedia for Bionicle G1 and G2? What do you think about the multimedia for Hero Factory? What do you think about all of this? Let me know in the comment section below. And let's celebrate the Bionicle multimedia, because it was something of a marvel. It was something that kept us engaged into the legend, and it still rides high today. So there you go. This was a long-ass video, but I needed to say everything I needed to say. I'll be back tomorrow with another video, so stay tuned for more videos. I'm TheZOMBIEJ. I'll see you folks later. Have a good fucking day, and peace.